All right, guys, welcome to another video. This is going to be our first maintenance video on the 997 GT3. We got a few things going on today. Got to do it in the driveway because unfortunately the M3 is up on the lift, and we're prepping the left side for some concrete work, so we got to do this outdoors, unfortunately. But got some race ramp jack things, so we should be able to get the rear end high enough to do the transmission fluid. We also have cabin air filter from MAN, and we have some new hood struts that we're putting in because these were failing. The trunk with the frunk hit me in the head probably like 4 times already, so we threw in a new strut there. Took what, like a minute?
Not even
a minute. So 25 bucks for the pair from FCP. We're gonna go ahead and do this one, so Ben will show you guys how to get that done very quickly. All right, so this is how to get the strut off. I didn't realize he had already done both already. Like, that's okay. How fast he was.
I don't mind showing.
So we'll take it off and put on the strut again to show you guys how it's done. But all you really need is a flathead.
Yep.
And there is a retaining clip that holds the strut to the ball on the hood.
Yep.
Pops out like that.
Just gotta pop it on. Super simple. Lower. And you're done.
Just like that, guys. Faster than putting gas in your car. All right, so now for the cabin air filter, we have to remove this side panel. Now we're gonna slide this black thing off. And then we should be able to pull this filter out. And let's see how dirty she is. Other side. Actually. Oh, this thing was probably done at some point not too long ago.
Yeah, surprisingly not awful.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll throw the new one in anyway. Make sure while we're in here, it looks pretty clean. Yeah, not too bad at all. So we'll throw the new filter in. They're like 20 bucks. Cheap insurance.
Shows the airflow direction on the filter.
Yep, there you go.
Nice. Squeeze her in there.
I think the one that we took out was a Molly. This is a MAN. Both are basically OEM manufacturers for German vehicles.
They're both charcoal, which is really nice.
Yep, charcoal activated, which is great.
There we go.
Voila. We have 4 liters, 7590 liquid moly, GL4/5. This car takes approximately 3 to 3.5 liters, depending on how much wants to come out. And we have to remove this black tray. And because the fill and the drain end up being right under here, so you can't really see it, but I'm pointing to it. You see that bolt? That's the drain, and the fill is gonna be somewhere along up here. So in order to get this panel off, there's some Torx screws that have to come out. Eyeballing it, looks like a T25 or a T30. Torx screws for sure. And there's one here, I believe one there, and then 2 on this side. And it looks like it should pop off just like that pretty easily. All right, and we already did an oil change the other day, but I'll show you guys how to do it. On the driver's side, there is a drain bolt right here for the sump. This is a dry sump car, so only a little bit of oil is gonna come out of this one. And then you have a secondary bolt for the tank. A lot of oil is in there. Basically what I do is I put a big crescent wrench on the top one, and then I loosen the socket head because if you are trying to loosen that, you're like bending the whole tank because it feels, the brackets there, very flimsy feeling. So I put a crescent wrench up top just to support it, and then I crack that bolt loose. Obviously let all the fluid drain, and then put in new bolt / washers, and then up top you will fill your oil here, and you also need a special oil filter socket to take the filter off. You're going to change the filter housing, the large O-ring, and then at the tip there's a smaller O-ring that's sold separately. Total materials for oil change about $120, give or take, and do it yourself. You fill it with 9.5 liters of oil, and the whole thing will take you about 30 minutes, start to finish. $123 in materials, and you save yourself $400 from going to the dealer / independent shop. So Ben is down underneath. We are removing the drain and the fill plugs. We already got the belly pan off with the was it T30?
Yeah, it was a T25.
T25, and we have the new drain bolt here with the magnetic tip, and the new fill plug with a washer. So brand new FCP Euro. You can get your lifetime replacements for free for everything, the fluids and the bolts. Little tip for the fill plug, which is on the driver's side by the oil cooler. If you have a 10mm Allen socket, you're not going to have enough clearance to put a ratchet on the end, so you can either get an open-ended wrench and you can put it, you know, on the actual bit once it's seated, but you don't really have enough leverage unless you have a long enough open end. So I do have a 10mm flex head with a ratchet end, and you can kind of just stick it onto the bolt like that, and you'll be able to get it on just like this. So now you have a decent amount of leverage to crack that fill plug loose right here. All right, so now we got all that trans fluid getting dripped out.
This one was definitely due. You can look at all the metal shavings on the plug. Look at that.
Wow.
Goop.
Yep, definitely due for a change. And the fluid looks pretty dark. All right, we got the new drain plug in, and we're gonna torque it to 18 feet. So we filled in basically 3 full liters. We used 3 bottles. We still have a 4th bottle that's completely unopened, so that is great. And now we're just putting the belly pan back on. That's held in by those 4 T25s, and that's it, guys. Pretty simple maintenance item to do, as long as you can get the car in the air. Need some simple hand tools. Now go out, enjoy, drive the car. Hopefully the shifter feels a lot better. I'm sure it's going to feel much better after we drained out that old fluid. So let's go for a quick drive and see if it did anything. All right, this is the first drive with the new trans fluid in. Car is still cold, so it'll probably take a little bit of time for the fluid to get throughout the tranny. So far, very slightly better. Not like mind-blowing changes here, but it does feel smoother going into gears. Downshifting feels smoother. Before, like for me, it was going into gear and like getting out of gear. It kind of felt like you had to fight it a little bit. Now it seems to come out of gear, go into gear a little bit more smoothly. So we'll probably notice a bigger difference when the temperatures get really high or when the temperatures are really low. That's probably when we'll notice something more drastic, but now it's just 84 degrees. The car's semi-warmed up. Oil temps are already at like 165. Coolant's at 175, so it's not exactly cold. Probably do like a little 1 to this gear change. Yeah, coming out of first gear definitely felt a little bit easier to get into second. So that's great. Try a little downshift. Very nice. So that's it, guys. We did a few things on the GT3, a few hours overall. This is all stuff that you can do at home in your own garage with basic hand tools. You don't need to go to a dealership to do this. You don't have to pay an indie shop $1,000 to do this either. So I'll put the link down below where you can buy the stuff, also the tools that you'll need. And that's it, guys. Super straightforward. We'll see you in the next video.